Good morning. I'm still in La Jolla, by the way, and it's actually a cold day today for La Jolla, California, for Southern California. It's right now 47 degrees Fahrenheit, which is cold. I'm going to be taking a walk by the cove in a short while. Tonight is our Christmas party at the Chopra Center, and then I go to New York to spend the rest of our time, vacation time in New York for the rest of this year. In any case, today I thought I would complete my explanation of higher states of consciousness and actually explain why reality is different in different states of consciousness. In previous posts, I have explained that both the Eightfold Path of the Buddha and the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali lead us into higher states of consciousness. And I did explain waking, dreaming, sleeping. You can go into previous posts to check them out. So here's the fundamental premise of what I'm saying. Consciousness is the ground of all experience. All experience happens in consciousness. Thinking happens in consciousness. Perception happens in consciousness. Cognition happens in consciousness. Moods and feelings are experienced in consciousness. Senses are alive in consciousness. I mentioned perceptions, but also any sensation inside the body is experienced in consciousness. So, in other words, consciousness shapes our experience. Consciousness is the container of experience. As my friend Rupert Spira says, consciousness is that in which all experience occurs. Consciousness is that in which all experience is known. And consciousness is that out of which all experience is made. That's a difficult one, but we can address that later. Without consciousness, there is no experience. No experience of the body, no experience of the mind, no experience of the world. That's why the ancient wisdom traditions say that I'm not in the world is in me. I'm not in the body is in me. I'm not in the mind is in me. Curving back within myself, I create the experience of mind, body, and universe. In Sanskrit, Krishna talks about this as the basic tenet. So he explains this to Arjuna in Sanskrit: Prakratim swam vashtbhai vishwajami puna puna. Curving back within myself, I create all reality. Okay, so from our own experience, we know that if we are in a fearful state, then our thoughts are fearful, our emotions represent fear, our sense perceptions represent a dangerous environment. If you're, on the other hand, in a state of love, then your thoughts are loving, you feel more compassion, you feel more joy, and the world appears more interesting and more loving and more beautiful. Even a rainy day can seem romantic when you're in love. So we know from our own experience that everything that we call reality, thoughts, moods, emotions, perceptions, changes as we move from fear to love. But now let's address the higher states of consciousness. So I have already said that consciousness is the ground of all being, but it's also a field of infinite creativity, a field of intentionality, a field of unpredictability, a field of correlation or synchronicity, and a field of love, and many, many other things. But let's think of the five main things: possibilities, creativity, correlation or synchronicity, unpredictability, and the power of intention. So having addressed the first three states of consciousness, as waking, dreaming, and sleeping, let's talk about the fourth state, which is soul consciousness, the ground of being. As soon as you get into the awareness in which experience happens, so experiences, sensations, images, thoughts, feelings, but awareness is the ground of being. So as soon as you touch the ground of being, you find yourself in a timeless domain of awareness, and you start to experience more intuition, more creativity, more possibility, more love, more compassion. You're more comfortable with unpredictability, and you start to experience at a subtle level the spontaneous fulfillment of desire, which is more coincidences, more synchronicity. So that's the fourth state of consciousness called Turiya, and that is glimpsed in meditation, or even right now as you turn from the experience to who or what is having the experience. When that gets grounded through daily practice of meditation and through cultivating witnessing awareness, even in the dream state and in the sleep state, then the fifth state emerges, which is the simultaneity of local and non-local awareness. That is referred to in many traditions to be in the world and not of it. In one of his poems, Rumi says, this reality here is not the real reality. The real reality is behind the curtain. In truth, we are not here. This is our shadow. This is the projected world. So the fifth state is when that ever-present witnessing awareness wakes up in waking, dreaming, and sleeping. So there is the inner knowing, and it's a kind of an out-of-body experience because you can observe your body in deep sleep, in dream state, in the waking state, and there's a subtle knowing that I'm not the body-mind, I'm the awareness in which the body-mind and the universe arises. And if this is persistent in waking, dreaming, and sleeping, then of course there's also the loss of the fear of death with that knowing that my silent me, the silent witnessing awareness, not being in time, is not subject to birth and death. The truth of the Vedanta, again Krishna saying water cannot wet it, wind cannot dry it, weapons cannot cleave it, fire cannot burn it, it's ancient, it's unborn, and it does not die. Okay, so that then, if it persists and if you abide in that, leads to what is called divine consciousness, where the ever-present witnessing awareness is not only present always in waking, dreaming, and sleeping in the subject of experience, but it also wakes up in the object of experience, which means every object is imbued with the same witnessing awareness, whether it's a desk or a flower or the walls of this room or the clouds, the rainbows. In other words, the divine is no longer difficult to find. The divine is impossible to avoid. Now, in this state of consciousness, there is extreme joy, even ecstasy, and exaltation of spirit. So everything that was before, including meaningful coincidences, synchronicity, creativity, insight, intuition, imagination, inspiration, choice, truth, goodness, beauty, harmony, love, that all expands. But because spirit is in communion with spirit everywhere, then our consciousness, if you want to call it that, is in communion with consciousness everywhere. This leads to communion and the realm of miracles, because now consciousness is interacting with consciousness in all the objects of experience, not just the subject of experience. So that would be the sixth state, the state of miracles, and the final stage is called unity consciousness or nirvana, where all the separate witnessing awarenesses, both in the subject of experience and all the objects of experience, they fuse and they become one. And then there's the inner realization that there's only one consciousness and the whole universe is constantly arising and subsiding in that one consciousness, and that you